You've learned in genetics that we get our physical features from both of our parents. Each of your parents' traits, both of their ears, both of their noses, both of their heights, combine together to give you your traits. And for each pair of traits that make up a body part, one is usually dominant over the other. But what if a bull with a black coat mates with a cow with a white coat and produces a black and white cow? Instead of only one color, both colors are physically expressing themselves at the same time. We call this codominance. Our blood type is a codominant trait and plays a role in organ and blood donation. Today we'll learn each blood type and how to figure out potential blood types. Have you ever wondered why a relative can't donate an organ or blood to a family member? Codominance can explain why. Meet Zaria and her parents Morris and Alyssa. Zaria's blood type is O, her mom's blood type is A, and her dad's blood type is B. Wait a minute. How can Zaria be O if her parents are A and B? Shouldn't she just have one dominant blood type, or like the cows, a mashup of types? Let's dig a little deeper to find out why Zaria is different. Diving into Zaria's bloodstream and into a red blood cell, we see Zaria's chromosomes. Remember that all humans, like Zaria, have 23 pairs of chromosomes. We each get half from mom and the other half from dad. The alleles for blood types can be found on Zaria's 9th chromosomes. The alleles in this chromosome hold the code for what antigens we have in our blood, and those antigens determine our blood type. Depending on the antigens, we have 4 different blood types, A, B, AB, or O. If a blood antigen that we aren't born with enters our body, antibodies in our immune system signal that there's a foreign invader present and trigger an attack. When it comes to blood and organ donation, we have to follow some rules to stay safe. If you're type A, you can receive from another type A donor because you have the same antigens. You can also receive from type O donors. Type O doesn't have any antigens, so your immune system won't detect a threat. Just like type A, if you're type B, you can receive from another type B or from type O. Neither type A or B can receive from type AB because it has both antigens. Donating to either A or B recipients would trigger the immune system to attack. If you are type AB, you have both antigens. That means you could receive from all 4 blood types A, B, AB, and O. That's why we call someone with AB blood a universal recipient, because they can receive blood from anybody. The last blood type is Zaria's blood type, type O. Being type O means you can give to anybody because her blood has no antigens. She's a shero, and what we refer to as a universal donor. But on the flip side, she can only receive from another type O. There's a protein called the Rh factor that comes into play that can also affect organ donation matches. We represent it with the positive sign next to the blood type if you have the protein and a negative if you don't. This is a deeper discussion than what you need to know about blood types, but you can research it to learn more if you're interested. Let's get back to our blood types. The 4 blood types that can exist are determined by our genotypes. Our genotype, if you recall, is our gene combination that determines our phenotype, the traits we physically express. When writing the genotype, we use the letter I to represent the alleles for our blood type and write the antigens as an exponent. A phenotype for type A blood occurs in 2 ways. You can be homozygous for type A. You get an A allele from both mom and dad. The capital I is a blood allele, and the exponent represents blood antigens. You can also be heterozygous for type A. One parent gives you an A allele, and the other gives you an allele without antigens represented by a lowercase I. B phenotype happens the same way. You can be homozygous and have 2 B alleles, or heterozygous with a B allele and 1 allele lacking antigens. If your phenotype is AB, your parents gave you 1 allele with A antigens and 1 with B antigens. Neither allele overwrites the other. They both are physically expressed in codominance. The O phenotype has no antigens at all from either allele. Now let's see the probability of parents passing down a specific blood type to their child. Pretend for a second that Zaria's mom is type AB, and her dad is heterozygous for type B. Let's put mom's alleles on top of dad's alleles on the side. Even if you switch their spots on the square, you'd get the same answer. Fill in the Punnett square where the alleles for each parents intersect. In square 1, these parents have the possibility of having a kid that is AB. In square 2, they could have a child that is homozygous B. In square 3, the parents have a possibility for heterozygous A. and in square 4 they have the possibility for heterozygous B. So for Zaria's parents they have the possibility of having 4 different genotypes, but when it comes to phenotype, they have the probability of half their kids being type B, a fourth being type AB, and a fourth type A. Remember, Punnett squares only show us what the chance of having a child with a particular trait is. The outcome is completely random. Let's try to work backwards with Zaria's blood type. Remember, Zaria is type O, her mom is type A, and her dad is type B. Can that even happen? Well, since Zaria is the child, we would put her in the Punnett square with her parents on the top and side, like we did before. We know Zaria can only be represented with one genotype since she has no antigens. These alleles had to come from her parents. Based on this information, you'd probably guess by now what blood type her parents have to be. Mom must be heterozygous for B, and her dad heterozygous for A. If you want to do more blood typing on your own, your teacher will have a link to a website with a game that you can ask for.